I know who he's talking about. He's looking straight at me. Oh, this is my favorite thing to do is welcome one of our own into the WPBA Hall of Fame. I haven't been given much time, so we're going to get right to it. But before I bring up Vivian's presenter, I wanted to recognize the other members in the room. From 2006, Linda Bearden, Campbell. And from 2008, Ava Mattia Lawrence. And our most recent, 2013, Jeanette Lee. And now let's get on with it. Oh, and myself, 2005. I would, at this time, like to introduce you to a very dear friend of Vivian's, Linda Garza, who's going to tell us some things about Vivian that you might not know.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Garza, and it is with great pleasure and profound honor that I speak to you this evening about my very dear friend and Hall of Fame inductee, Vivian Villarreal. Vivian's beginning into the world of billiards started at the age of 8 years old with the help of her grandmother. She owned a neighborhood bar called Molly's Lounge. Vivian would help her to clean up from time to time, and when her grandmother wasn't watching, she would run and grab a milk allowing her to be able to reach the bar pool table. She would play as long as she could before the screams of her grandmother would ring out, warning her to get off that milk carton before she fell off. But the trouble was always worth it. Vivian can still remember the sound of the pool balls hitting the back of the pockets. Her father, Willie Villarreal, also heard the sounds of balls falling center pocket. In watching his daughter's determination, he began to sculpt her talent and reinforce the already strong and loving bond between them. Now, Willie was good at playing pool, so every day after school and homework, Vivian was off to grab the milk carton and hit the pool table. Her goal? To be able to beat her dad. But soon she was doing much more than that. Playing the regulars at Molly's for $1 a game, or a beer, for her dad and uncle. She played with all her heart, her natural instincts. By the age of 12, her dad begins to take her on the back of his Harley to play in different bar tournaments around town. Much to the dismay of mother Gloria Villarreal, a 12-year-old in a bar playing pool. But when Vivian came home with her first trophy that was taller than she was, there wasn't much she could do to stop her. Bar tournaments and boat shows, she would play wherever she could. From the span of 12 to 16 years old, she amassed over 200 first-place trophies, all taken from opponents at least twice her age. Looking for inspiration, she finds a flyer for a professional tournament in Austin, Texas. She asks her dad to take her. Paying her entry for the tournament, it becomes the first professionally organized event she attends. Vivian finishes third, behind Gene Valancourt and then future Hall of Fame inductee, Gene Belucas. Although she fares well in the tournament and proves to herself that she can compete on a higher level, her desire to play high school sports, friendships, and socializing with people her own age group pulls Vivian in a different direction. She graduates from Robert E. Lee High School and begins her journey into college. One day, during a break for lunch between classes, she comes upon a billiard match being shown on TV in the cafeteria. Another future Hall of Famer, Robin Bell Dotson, is the player featured. As Vivian watches, she remembers thinking to herself, I can do that. Later with friends, Vivian ventured into a local pool hall just minutes away from campus and picked up her cue once again. One afternoon, as she's hitting balls to practice, A gentleman approaches and offers generous compliments, telling her, "You have a beautiful stroke, natural ability. You could be a world champion." He also offers to teach her. This gentleman's name, Robert Duffy Dorries. It takes some time for her to warm up to the idea. After all, she's done pretty well for herself. But about a year later, she walks back into that pool hall to look for Duffy. And from that point on, her billiard life would never be the same. Through hours of practice and training, Duffy becomes both mentor and friend, earning her trust and respect. Within the next 13 months, she moves from an unranked women's player to #1 in the world, a title she would hold for 5 years. Winning her first professional tournament in 1992 in Honolulu, Hawaii, facing Ava Lawrence in the finals. In the same year, she would go on to win the Quezon Classic and the 1992 National Championships. The next year, earning Pool and Billiard Magazine's Player of the Year award, her life is once again blessed beyond any of her expectations when a beautiful 4-month-old infant, Natalie Garcia, is brought into her life, needing her love and care. On tour with Vivian and with the help of all her Pool sisters, champion and now mom continue to amass over 19 tour stop victories all over the country, including Michigan, New York, and California. While playing at an event in Chicago, her attention is drawn to a spectator who is disrupting her concentration by making wind sounds. Every time she would shoot, he would whistle the sounds of winds in a storm. Finally, after Vivian telling him to shush, which we have all seen her do, he tells her that her dance around the table is resembles of a funnel cloud, a tornado in Chicago. And with that, Vivian would become known as the Texas Tornado, a name that would fit her well, as gale force winds would prove to be unstoppable as the tornado captures the 1996 ESPN World Championship. There is a quote by a Sufi poet that is one of my favorites. He writes, "The wound is where the light enters you." On July 23rd, 1997, and now 4.5-year-old Natalie is kidnapped by her estranged biological mother after a supervised scheduled visit. With no idea of Natalie's whereabouts or any knowledge that she is at least in good care, Vivian's world turns upside down as she exhausts her resources and energy in the search to recover Natalie. News spreads quickly throughout the billiard community, her story appearing in Billiard Digest, The Anguish of Vivian Villarreal. But it was merely a glimpse into the dark and turbulent world of sadness and depression that the champion would fall into. Turning to her faith and with the unending prayers of her mother, Vivian continues to travel and compete, now using her exposure and popularity to continue the ongoing search. Light begins to enter the wound in 2003, as Vivian is chosen by the Seminole Tribe of Florida to play under their sponsorship. What would prove to be a life-saving opportunity, her bond with the tribe would transcend professional commitments. As her grandmother Amalia passes away, the Seminoles show overwhelming love for their champion, renewing the commitment to find Natalie. Tribe leaders Mitchell and David Cypress helped Vivian to establish Vivian's Kids, a foundation for missing and exploited children. Their commitment to the return of Natalie is as determined as the champion herself, and on November 25th, 2005, a classmate recognizes her friend on the side of a milk carton, and Natalie is found. Her bond of love and friendship with the Seminole tribe would once again prove to be heaven sent with the unexpected passing of her father Willie in 2008. Tribe leaders Mitchell and David endeared Vivian as a daughter, as they too had suffered tragic losses of family members themselves. Their shared devotion to family, friendship, and respect for each other continues. Vivian's strong, independent, and passionate nature make a fierce competitor both on and off the table. Her commitment to achieve her goals is unequaled. Her story could easily fill 5 lifetimes. Any one of her life events would be enough for most. Through triumph and tragedy, the still ingrained words of wisdom from her parents remain in her heart and mind every day. To be happy, play with all her heart, enjoy yourself. And to this day, she does exactly that. Playing tour stops that include traveling to China, the Philippines, Spain, Germany, across the country, simply for the love of the game. And so the march to continue and dominate the billiard world keeps going, with Natalie and Duffy never more than a phone call away. Dad Willie always in her heart, Mother Gloria cheering her on, and the overwhelming love and support of her fans and peers.
Vivian, could you join me up here, please? Into the WPBA Hall of Fame. Now you can hug me. Well, we have a picture of you hugging me with the trophy in my hand. Isn't it beautiful?
You want the tennis players, baby.
Oh, and what's really awesome about this one is there isn't a ball that'll fall off of it. It was really cute when we first started using it, but people tend to want to play with it and ask Ava and Vicky, theirs have little nicks in them. All right, it's all yours.
Gotta wear my glasses. Getting older. I know a lot of you don't know, but obviously I've been through hell and back. I have some people that I want to thank personally and to share some of my thoughts with you. I want to thank all my sisters. You know, before I go to a tournament, everybody's always telling me, "Where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to go see my sisters." "Well, I thought you were the only child." I said, "No, I have like 64 sisters." They're like, "Wow, y'all that close?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You don't understand." I said, "We do stuff for each other." I said, "We're not like the men, we know how to act." And everybody's doing stuff. But it's true, it's funny. I never had the opportunity to thank Robin Bell, Mary Keniston, all the veterans that were there for me for that. A lot of people don't know, the reason why I had Lori John up there is that a lot of people don't know that she took the time to go to San Antonio and testify in Natalie's behalf. And I know, LJ, you'll probably be watching this video, and Natalie says thank you. I said, Nat says thank you, I say thank you, and it's something never in my life that I'll ever forget that you did for us. And I said, I love you and I miss you. I said, the billiard industry, you don't understand, I felt so loved. Everybody just wanted to help me, I just didn't know which way to turn. And they know who they are, and I want to thank them also. You know, Ava, this is one thing that I'll never forget, and I don't know if you remember. We were in New York, and you came up to me and you said, Viv, my hat goes off to you. She goes, I truly don't know how you do it. Do you remember? She goes, and she says, you fight up there with every time. I said, and dealing with the loss of Nat. Honestly, I look back now, I don't know how I did it. But I'll never forget that. So I want to thank y'all for supporting me and being there for me as my sisters. I love you, and thank you. And for Nat, I know you're watching this video, she couldn't be here. No one knows what I've been through until this day, not my family, not my mom, nor my dad. I hid a lot from my family because I didn't want a lot of people to feel sorry for me and worry about me. I went through hell and back for 8 years. I didn't want anybody to know what I went through. I remember for so many years just coming in the house crying and asking God why I didn't deserve any of this, when all I did was just take care of her. I felt so guilty where she was taken for those 8 years. But I'm glad you were found. I knew before I left this earth that I would see you again now. I said, always remember, I'm proud of the person you've become and the mother you've become. God only knows what you went through. It's been a blessing for you to have you in my life, and I'm happy to call you my daughter, and that you're back in my life. I love you dearly. For the Seminoles, man, my life changed so much with them, and it was a blessing. David and Mitchell, it's been a blessing, and it's been an unbelievable relationship. We speak at least once a month. We're always talking. You know, I thank them for organizing Vivian's Kids for Missing and Exploited Children. I raised a lot of money, and it healed my heart. But I'll never forget David telling me this. He goes, come here for a second. I said, what? He goes, I know God brought you to us for a reason. And I said, I just looked at him and tears were coming down. He goes, I know God brought you to us for a reason. He said, I see the pain and the sadness you go through every day trying to find Nat. He goes, let us help you find Nat. I don't care if it costs us $5 million, $10 million. I'll find her for you. And I said, no. I said, God will bring her back to me when it's meant for me to have her back. So that's when I knew what I meant to them. And I know that they're my family, and I love you all for that. Now Duffy. I spoke to Duffy, told me to tell you hi, and he's not doing well. He has cancer. He doesn't have much longer to live. And he says, you know, I love my Ava. And I said, yes, you do. That's why I left that picture up there. And he goes, Viv, you know, I can write a book on y'all. And I said, oh my God, I know. He said, do you remember that day that you and Lori John got into a fight with a cake? And I said, oh my God, yes. He goes, oh my God, it's funny. So he goes, you wouldn't let go of that cake, and then Mary's trying to let you open up the door, and you wouldn't open up the door because you knew they were going to attack you. So you finally open up the door, and Lori John and Kelly come in with that whipped cream, and they're fighting, everything's going everywhere. He goes, and I'm sitting back watching all this. He goes, and I remember you just sitting on top of Lori John and just stuffing the cake in her ear. And Lori John's going, she's screaming and crying. She goes, I peed in my pants. And I was like, ooh. Oh my God. So then, and then he goes, oh my God. So I got her to turn around, I get Kelly, and I start shoving the cake, you know, in her face. So he goes, and then I went to go check on the girls, and I see them all in the jacuzzi topless. And I was just like, what? He goes, they were taking a bath, because you know I can write a book on everything. And I said, yes, you can, Duffy. I said, yes, you can. So he wanted me to tell y'all that he misses y'all, and he's had a great time, and thank you. And he goes, and I know I love my Ava. I know. I want to thank my immediate family, my adopted brother, Ralph and Jamie, and all my friends that have supported me all these years. I want to thank them. Linda, my dearest, dearest friend, you've been here with me through thick or thin, and you couldn't have wrote my life story any better. You were so on point. I truly appreciate your friendship. I can never thank you enough. You have been a light in my life. It means the world to me and my family that you did this. And I thank you, babe. I thank you. To my father and grandmother, I know you're both looking down at me and finally saying we did it. Thank you for being stubborn, Dad, and giving me the life I have, because I couldn't have asked for anything more. You're so, so missed, and I love you. Finally, Mother, I can see you right now yelling at Dad at the age of 12, fighting for so many years, and look where I ended up. Being forever known the best player in the world, and having HOF at the end of my name. I thank you for helping me, through all the struggles and all the hard times, and to help me keep my head up high when I was so knocked down. And when I lost Nat, all I could hear you is your voice telling me God will guide you and give you the strength to have faith and be strong. So Mother, thank you for being my friend, my sister, and my best friend. I love you. So with that said, I want to thank all my fans for supporting me all these years. This is one of the happiest days of my life, and this award means the world to me. If you only knew with all the blood, sweat, and tears I endured all these years, I can finally say I made it and my dream has come true. This is all I ever wanted. Thank you. Thank you, and I love you all.